The entire cafe fell silent the moment the little girl raised her small hands. No one had expected the child, timid and clearly frightened by the noise around her, to communicate so beautifully. Her fingers moved gently through the air, forming delicate shapes like petals drifting on wind. And the waitress, who had just set down the plate of pancakes, froze in shock. The girl had just signed, "Thank you." But before the waitress could react, a tall man in a sharp suit stood from the nearby table. Eyes widening with recognition, his face draining of color. He whispered, almost in disbelief, "Where did you learn that?" And what happened next would unravel secrets he had kept hidden for years. Before the truth unfolds. Make sure to like this video and subscribe to Hopeful Stories so you never miss powerful stories like this one. The breakfast rush at Maple and Hearth Cafe always brought warmth and clattered chatter. Steaming coffee, sizzling pans, but on this particular morning, something felt different, though no one could name what. Emma, a 24-year-old waitress with tired eyes and a heart full of patience, noticed a young girl about 7 years old, sitting quietly in the booth near the window. Her hair was in soft braids, her little legs dangling off the seat, but her eyes were wide, flicking anxiously around the bustling cafe, as though searching for a safe corner in a world too loud. Beside her sat a well-dressed man in his early 40s, posture straight, hands folded. But his expression revealed something warmer than his corporate exterior: protectiveness, guilt, and something like fear. Emma approached gently, placing the pancakes before the child, smiling with the softness reserved for those who looked like they'd forgotten what kindness felt like. The girl didn't speak. Instead, after a slight pause, she lifted her hands and signed "Thank you" with a delicate sincerity that pierced Emma's heart. Emma's eyes widened. She hadn't seen a child use sign language in years since. Her own little sister passed away after struggling with severe hearing loss. Emma responded instinctively, signing, "You're welcome." The girl's face lit up like sunrise. But behind her, the man, evidently the girl's guardian, stiffened. His world tilted as though the floor had ripped beneath him. He stood abruptly, his chair scraping loudly, drawing everyone's attention. "Where did you learn that?" he demanded softly, not with anger, but disbelief, a trembling disbelief that made Emma's breath catch. Embarrassed by his sudden intensity, Emma apologized. "I'm sorry, sir, I didn't mean to upset her." But the girl tugged on his sleeve, shook her head, and signed something so quick, Emma barely caught it. "She understands me." The man Marcus read, notoriously private CEO. Known across the city, swallowed hard before turning to Emma with a gaze that carried years of unspoken stories. She doesn't talk to anyone," he whispered. "Not even me." Emma crouched to the girl's level. "Can I ask your name?" she signed slowly. The girl hesitated, then formed the letters Rosa. Emma felt a lump rise in her throat. Rosa smiled, a small, fragile smile that looked like it had been locked away for years. Emma sensed something broken in Marcus. Not in the intimidating corporate way, but in the way someone looks when they've lost more than they know how to hold. He explained hesitantly, stumbling over words as though each one was heavy. "She lost her hearing 2 years ago. In an accident." The pause stretched. "Her mother didn't make it." Emma's heart cracked. Rosa leaned against him, fingers clinging to his sleeve, and Emma saw it clearly now. Marcus wasn't cold. He was terrified. Terrified of failing this child. Of not knowing how to reach her. Of loving her so fiercely that it hurt to breathe. "What about sign language classes?" Emma asked softly. Marcus shook his head. "She refuses. She shuts down every time." His voice wavered. "She hasn't connected with anyone since the accident." "Until now?" The way he looked at Emma wasn't admiration. It was a plea. A silent plea for help he didn't know how to ask for. That moment changed everything. Rosa signed again, a bit more bravely this time. "Teach me." Marcus's breath hitched. Emma's eyes softened. And for the first time since tragedy had shattered a family, a small bridge was built, not with words, but with hands, hope, and a single thank you that opened a door none of them saw coming. Marcus returned to Maple and Hearth the very next morning, and the next, and the next, as though the cafe had become the one place where Rosa's world wasn't muted by grief. Emma welcomed them warmly each time, bringing out not just food but small flashcards she created at home late at night. Simple drawings of animals, colors, emotions, each paired with the corresponding sign. Rosa absorbed everything like sunlight after years of winter. Her fingers moved faster each day, more confident, more expressive, and Marcus watched with a mixture of joy and heartbreak. "I've tried so hard," he confessed to Emma one afternoon while Rosa practiced signing behind them. Therapists, specialists, tutors, but she never opened up like this. Emma listened quietly. Maybe she didn't need professionals, she said softly. Maybe she needed someone who understood her heart, not just her condition. Marcus looked at her then, not with the gaze of a CEO used to commanding boardrooms, but with the vulnerable eyes of a father who had spent 2 years blaming himself for something he couldn't control. As weeks passed, a small miracle unfolded. Rosa began signing full sentences, laughing silently but brightly, tugging at Emma's apron every time she arrived, gifting her little drawings of the three of them holding hands. Marcus started learning too, though badly at first. His hands stumbled like oversized puzzle pieces, and Rosa giggled every time he messed up, correcting him patiently. One evening as the cafe lights dimmed, Rosa signed something that made Marcus freeze. "You are trying." It was the first time she acknowledged his efforts. His eyes filled instantly, and he pulled her into a gentle, trembling hug. Emma watched them, wiping a tear. She never expected her quiet cafe job would lead her into the private healing of a shattered family. As Rosa blossomed, Marcus changed too. He stayed longer after closing hours, helping Emma stack chairs or wipe tables, telling her stories about the woman he lost, the guilt he carried, the nights he spent awake fearing he wasn't enough for his little girl. Emma shared her own story at her sister's hearing loss, the grief of losing her young, the helplessness of wishing she could have done more. They found comfort in each other's pain, weaving a quiet companionship that neither had expected but both desperately needed. One night, as they locked up, Marcus hesitated before saying, "You saved her." "And you saved me?" Emma shook her head. "No, she saved herself. I just gave her my hands." But Emma didn't realize that Rosa's connection to her meant more than healing, it meant a turning point. One rainy evening, after Rosa signed an entire story to Emma about her day, Marcus approached with a seriousness she hadn't seen in weeks. "Emma, would you consider being her official sign language tutor?" Her breath caught. "Marcus, I don't have certifications. I don't care about certifications," he interrupted. "I care that she loves you, that she trusts you, that she speaks to you." Rosa nodded vigorously, grabbing Emma's hand and signing please. Emma's heart melted, and she agreed. Months later, something even deeper grew between them. Something warm, steady, and terrifyingly real. It wasn't romance built on sudden sparks. It was something gentler, built on shared healing, on quiet conversations, on the love of a little girl who needed them both. And one day, in that same cafe where everything began, Rosa signed a sentence that made both adults speechless. "We are a family now." Marcus looked at Emma, eyes soft with emotion, and whispered, "If you'll have us." And in that moment, Emma realized that sometimes the loudest stories are told without a single word spoken, only hands, hearts, and hope intertwined forever. If this story touched your heart, please like this video and subscribe to Hopeful Stories for more emotional, inspiring stories that celebrate kindness, connection, and the power of hope.